I'm always trying to like time when the live like goes live so it looks like I'm opening the thing with like but I can never tell because the circle of death continues to spin. Hello folks and welcome. It is Wednesday. It is 10 o'clock where I live, and it is undoubtedly a different time wherever you live. But welcome. I have a gigantic boat of coffee today that I have barely gotten started. And for those of you who are in the chat, a handful of you, lovely ladies and gentlemen, please let me know if all of the things are working. So as you can see, it is just me today. I did have a guest last week and the week before. Margaret says we can see and hear, which is awesome. And but today is just me. I am slowly reaching out and connecting to people who have been on the stream before or people who have not been on the stream before, and just starting the process of initiating those conversations to bring some other people on the stream. The reason is I just think it's fun. That's just it. Like I feel like it's time to start doing that. So that's you can expect to see more of that in the future, just for no other purpose other than I think it's interesting. Uh, I do see Keith in the chat. What is going on? And Margaret and Adrian and Maeve. What is up, folks? It is pretty quiet so far today. Wow. The the stream says there's all of 4 people here today. So maybe it will be a quiet day. Maybe we will stream for the entire time, or maybe we won't. I don't know. April for me has been kind of an interesting month. I feel like I had this intersection of like personal expenses and then ramen noodles month in January. I just came into the month not really necessarily having the budget that have had previously, planning to invest in my. So I made maybe a more conservative goal for the month. I said, okay, I'll try to get to 100 articles just globally. And I wasn't even sure that I was going to be able to make it. And then I wouldn't say I checked out, but I definitely spent some good chunks of time just off of the computer, with my kids. We had my kids are Cub Scouts, and so one of the things we had this month was the Pinewood Derby, and so one of the things I did, and it's so funny because I spent the whole time thinking, man, like this would be a great niche for a website, right? Because you think, okay, who so like Cub Scouts or like scouting, because they have the major, overarching like Boy Scout website, but then they do all these things. They do the derby cars, and then there's a ton of YouTube channels about them, but they're all like these, I want to say not all dads, but a lot of dads, like crusty and like using their phone to like show you stuff, and half the time it's out of focus, and they have all these ideas, but we spent so much time like looking at these videos trying to figure things out. And I spent the whole time thinking, man, this would be a great niche website because there are a lot of Cub Scout moms who are doing this, but almost all of the content is from the dads. And I'm like, ooh, like I could target the Cub Scout moms. I mean, and there's so many things that I have had to go to the internet to do for to be a Cub Scout mom, like looking up songs because I wasn't a scout, so I don't know what these things are, and like cheers and like, and so much of this stuff is just kind of old and not that sophisticated. I'm like, ugh. So I have it in the back of my mind one of these days to start a niche website for Cub Scout parents. But I digress. The point of telling this story was April was the month where we did the Pinewood Derby, and I have never built a derby car, or helped my children build derby cars, which you know what that means. And so anyway, it took a lot of the month, and we just finished this out. And so I know I feel like I've gotten to the end of the month. It's April 27th, and I'm like, how is it already April? Like, how is the month almost already over? I don't even know. I see more people rolling in. I see Pete and Game Guy and Soren and Anthony. What's up? Yeah, I don't know what is going on as far as the alert, if it's going on or not. This is a pretty chill morning. And frankly, I don't know how we're going to compete against Johnny Depp. Like, like, like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Apparently, that is a big deal that I'm not following. Is a derby car a go-kart? So I think as they get older, they might have those, but the derby car is like this big. They give you a block of wood, right? That's about yay big, and then 4 nails and 4 wheels. And then And then, voila, there you go. And uh, it's not as simple as just nailing the wheels on because everything you do to the car breaks it. You apply a drill to it, it cracks. You try to cut it, it splits apart. Like you try to nail the wheels on, and I eventually just literally took a hot glue gun and just glued everything on, like just as much glue as possible all over. And Sissy, where did they finish? My one of my sons finished fifth, and the other one finished eighth, and I feel good about it. Our first Pinewood Derby. And I didn't win, but that's okay. Anyway, I digress. The reason I was talking about this is I was having an accountability moment for myself to say why April was kind of weird. And then I want to ask y'all, how was April? It's already the 27th. I was in the Icarus spreadsheet just now, confirming what my original goal for the month had been, that it was 100 articles, and that I did, in fact, get there a couple of days ago. But it was hard fought, I will tell you, this month. And I had some better months, previous months, like some months where I hit over 150 articles a month. So getting to 100 kind of feels like wah wah. But looking at the month and what else I accomplished this month, I feel pretty good about it. I was like looking at my to-do list. I do have a YouTube video to make about my otis.global domain, because I was checking and I just like realized I hadn't made the month 3 video. So it's like April 27th. And every time I go like that, I'm looking, there's a clock right there. And I'm like, that's the date and time. And I'm like, oh God, I got to get over there and actually get that. For folks who are in the chat, please go and smash the like button. I'm not sure that it does anything except make me feel good. That's probably the only thing it does. But if you could do me the one favor, then that would be awesome. Let's see. There's Joanne. What's going on? And Daniel. Pete says that Cubs sounds like too many cooks with too many different ideas. Yes. Well, let me tell you, there's a lot going on in Scouts right now. There is Lady D, Game Guy, his accountability moment. He says that I have done very little this month, and it's okay to be okay with that. Yes, he said, rested up to recover from COVID and catching up on household chores. Look, I could start household chores today, and I could do nothing but that for the next month, and I would still be trying to catch up because there's never any catching up when you have children. It's like literally impossible to get caught up ever. So I applaud your attempt. It's interesting that now that things are opening up, that more people are traveling, I'm hearing of a lot more people who were previously healthy having gotten COVID. It's like exciting to think, okay, we could plan a trip to go here, but it feels like not only do you need to plan the trip, but that plan for when you get home that you will be sick. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Like you say, oh, I don't think it's something that will cause that we're not planning for death anymore, but it's just factoring in, the travel time, the money, and then being sick when you get home. And it's not like that's new for us. Usually I will come home from being on a plane and like having some sort of cold, but to get COVID coming back and all of the quarantining, all of that stuff just adds this extra layer to the trip. Keith says, for his April accountability statement, thank you, Keith. He says, publishing down but traffic up, which is awesome. Maeve, she said that she did a P&L for her blogs and wished that she hadn't. Oh, that's a bummer. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. She realized she was getting excited with $3 when we're $5,000 in the hole. Yeah, welcome to blogging. I feel like you've had the moment that many of us have had, and I feel like it's one of those things that just like check the box. You're like, all right, you made your first dollar, check. Made your first, $10, check. Started a website, check. Got excited about 25 cents, realized that you spent $10,000 to get there, check. I actually sat down and did a P&L. I did something I swore up and down that I wasn't going to do earlier in this year. And if you follow my written blog, and I recently I think I put up a post about it. I don't remember. uh, that I dusted off my 2019 case study, the mom blog that I started, and it was the site that I started when I bought John Dykstra's big blogging course that he doesn't sell. I don't think he sells it anymore, but he had this like massive flagship course, and it was super cheap. It was $47 for a year. What a bargain! Wow. But I started this site following his strategy and doing all his things. I bought Ahrefs, I did all this stuff, and then I was really excited about it, and I worked on it for just over a year before it got slaughtered by the May the 4th update. And then I decided to take a break and never really worked on the site seriously again. Right. And so fast forward, and it's so you look at 2019 to 2020, 2021, 22. This is a 3-year-old site now, and it has a DA of at least 20. The last time I checked, it was in the 20s somewhere. And I was making what, $60 a month? 60, yes, $60 a month, and has around 20,000 page views a month in traffic, really poorly monetized. I was like, okay, it's time to dust this off and work on it. And I sat down and did the actual balance, to decide, to confirm, to admit to myself how much of a fail this project was, how much money I had actually lost in it, having invested a bunch of time and effort and money into content early on. And I discovered that it wasn't as bad as I thought. I'm actually only $1,200 in the hole, and I expected it to be much worse. I think anyway, memory. You know what? I put it in the blog. It's the emiliagardner.blog, and I think it's the most recent post. You can go there and look and confirm for me if I am remembering it right. But it is not as bad as I thought. I expected it to be much worse. But that was one of those moments where I've been not wanting to do the profit and loss situation and looking at, beginning to invest in it again. Like how deep am I going to dig this hole, and like what's going to happen when I start putting content on there? And anyway, I'm super scattered. Checking the chat. So, maybe, yes. So I totally understand. I did that this last week, and it's depressing. Sue, what is going on? Sue, I feel like we haven't caught up in a long time. How are you, my dear? Thanks for dropping in. There's Sarter and Steven. Steven Cruz, what is going on, Steven? Our friend Game Guy has a question. He says, how has Jasper been working out for you? So this is a very interesting question, actually, and how I feel about it now versus how I felt about it the first week of trying it, because I decided to just spend a month playing around with Jasper, and I went with the boss mode, right? So not just the lower tier. I just like, all right, I'll spend the $60 and get all as many of the features as there are for 1 month and then see what happens. And so in the beginning, I spend money on stuff and then I'm committing to use all the credits. But I got a slow start because at first it was hard. It was first I was just using it in boss mode, just like starting a blank document and like learning how to get stuff out of it, back out of it was hard for me. And trying to use the power commands and things and like figuring out what it would do. And like I just needed to give myself the the run-in time to like get used to it. So the first 2.5 weeks of the month, I only produced 2 or 3 articles, which was not enough, in my opinion, to really get a handle on how to use it. But then towards the end of the month, I realized that the credits were going to expire and I was going to waste a whole bunch of money. So I dedicated 4 or 5 days to sitting down to use the thing to try and figure out a way to use the credits, which means that I created somewhere between 30 and 40 articles, which now I think over time the articles got better, but that's really what it took for me personally to start feeling more confident, like knowing if I put something in or I ask for something that I will get something back out of it that I will feel good about. Um, I mean, it's as far as how I feel about it. It is a tool that I think is only as good for you as the effort you're willing to put into it. I think that everything should be fact checked, right? Because you ask it a question or you ask it to produce something, and then you say, our fence is gray, and Jasper returns something that says, no, fences are not gray, and then you hit the little button that says, try again, or like produce, like delete this last line and do it again, and then it will say, yes, fences are gray. You're like, so anything factual, you have to like follow that up with some actual research of your own. And you can see how freelancers can, in a hurry or just accepting that things are the way they are, how you could end up, in one of these content mills where you're buying content, where you could get some of this content that's produced with these that is just completely mind-bogglingly wrong. And so it's just that there is that element of it. Do I plan to re-up for next month? I do. I do. I still feel like there's a lot that can be learned from it. And I don't know necessarily that I'm going to use it to produce like whole articles the way I did this last month. I think it will become really helpful in going back and doing my content, revising my content, refreshing, right? Is looking for more questions or additional content or ways that just improve articles that I've already written and just speed up that process. And so I think that's where I'm planning to go with it. Uh, but overall, I think it's worth trying out. And I feel like it is much better than it was when I had first tried it when it first came out. And I was like, oh, I I I I was not impressed at all. And I kind of regret not buying the lifetime offer. I think that's what they were selling originally, was you could spend $100 and have it forever. And I should have bought it then, but I just didn't like it then. So anyway, I'm going to continue to use it. I will use it for a while longer, and then I will try and write a review so that when people ask me in the future, I'll be able to link them. Like, check out my blog post on this. I have a link when I get there eventually. Keith, so I hope that answers your question. That's like a 15-minute answer to your question, game guy. I think the answer is good ish, getting better. Keith says that he's playing with pop-ups on specific pages, and they're starting to convert. Oh, interesting. $30 here and there is starting to add up. So find the right offer. So are you sending people directly to the affiliate offer, or are you kicking them to an intervening page that has the affiliate offer on it? I would love to know this strategy that you are utilizing here. Please tell me more, Keith. There's Zach. What's up? Ken Broadwell. He says he actually made a live stream. Well, Ken, since you are here, feel free to utilize the chat. Ask us some questions. Tell us how is your week? How are things? What have you accomplished? I would love to know. Adrian says that April was mostly SEO optimizations, which sounds awesome. Sounds like a very exciting month. Managed to get a good chunk of his articles into the top 10 from top 30. Well done. The golf clap, pat you on the back. Let's see, what do I have in here as far as like sound effects? Oh, yes. Yeah, if Derek is listening to this, I bet we just blasted his eardrums. Jay-Z, Bella is here. Bella, I think, is John's daughter. And Bella, your dad is awesome. And just pat him on the back, because he probably needs a pat on the back. He's working very hard. He's awesome. Just so you know. Ken says he's trying to use ScaleNet. I actually don't know what ScaleNet is. He says, I'm assuming it's an AI content thing. He says, feels the same as you're saying. I need to put a lot into it to get it to produce anything and then edit it. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it would be great if there was a shortcut to everything, but I don't want that. You know why? Because if there was a button that just made everything perfect, then we would be out of work. Like, there would be no point to us. We would all be trying to hustle to find something else to do. So it's probably good that it's not that good or that easy yet. I mean, we kind of know that it's coming. We hope that it's not, but it's like the writing is on the wall that eventually technology will overcome us. The question is Skynet here already, or will it be in our children's lifetimes? I don't know. I thought I saw Sarah Connor the other day at the school, like on the fence. Just saying, maybe it was me. Adrian says that he did some Surfer audits, so he's using the Surfer tool and more internal linking. So going topical, rewriting. Yeah, that is something that so in the content that I'm revamping, that was for my resuscitation, my resurrection project, is going back and not using Surfer, but just using my own on-page strategy. Now I'm going back and like kind of scratching my head, like, what was I thinking? Like, oh God, this is awful. But then also updating the internal links. Some of the pages didn't have any, and then I've just written. I just have more content on the site, and also ordering some content that could support those articles, so it would have better linking options. Because some of the articles I think are good articles, they just don't have anything really related to link to. Let's see. Oh yeah, Keith. Keith, if you want to, Keith, and if it will allow you to, you are welcome to drop a link to your Discord. Keith has a Discord. Our Minted Empire Keith has a Discord, and it appears to be lively and active. He asked me to be a moderator in it, and so far I have moderated nothing. But seems to be a place full of active people who are talking about niche websites, and I totally am cool, Keith, if it allows you to, and if not, maybe one of the mods can drop the link to the Discord invite. If you're looking for more community, I don't see myself being like a super active participant because it's a distraction. But if you need community of people to talk to, that can be a cool place. And I think there's a lot of people. Okay, Keith, will you Facebook it to me, and then I will post it. I will open up my messenger and everything, and I will drop it here. But yeah, I mean, it's like, especially for people who don't have a community of their own, or you can Discord it to me. I just think it's really important to have those opportunities, and that's why I do not mind at all telling people to go on over there. Find some people to talk to. Joanne's husband is Danish, which is cool. Game Guy says, to follow up on the Jasper subscription, he just wanted to know whether I was going to continue it, and I am going to continue it for at least one more month. We will see. Stiggs is here with his capital letters. He commented on the fact that my kazoo and the shirt do match. To bother him, I wonder if I have something else in here. I do not have any more kazoos, but I did locate the Princess Gem crystal pen. So there you go. As far as Keith goes in the talking about, are you using ConvertBox? Is that what it is? As far as the pop-ups go, he says you're doing non-Amazon affiliates. So what you have is on specific pages, the user goes there, reads the content, and then like, how long does it take before the little box pops up? Is it an exit intent? Like when they decide, like they look like they're going to escape you, does it pop up, or does it come on when they've been on there a certain amount of time, like 20 seconds, 15 seconds or whatever, and then it's going directly to the seller page? So it's not going to someplace else in your post. Okay, so then that's my question. Is it an exit intent pop, or does it pop up after a predetermined amount of time, regardless of how long they've sat on the page? Because I'm just curious. All right. Let's see. Josh says he's better late than never, and I totally agree. It's great to have you here, Josh. And how was your month? I know that you were coming off of some vacation hiking, and so now that you are back, how is the month? How are things going? Ken says, to be honest, I just need to get on it and create a ton of content so the site actually has good content on it. Welcome to the struggle is real for everybody. Yes, I feel like I made all these notes for like my sites. Like, what do I need to do? Well, that site needs more content. That site needs more content. He says he Facebooked me. You did Facebook me. All right, I'm copying it. I'm going to copy it, and then we'll see if it works. Ready? I mean, I am a mod and all. Like, let's see if that actually works. All right, I posted the link in the chat. And for those of you who are here on the replay, if you do not see the chat, I'm sorry. I probably won't remember to go and put it in the description later. But if you do want to go to Keith's Discord, he's on Twitter. And that's actually where a lot of the people have come to his Discord recently, was from Twitter. And so it's been kind of cool, actually, because there's people, like new people that I've never heard of or talked to or been connected to. So it's kind of been this neat, like, meshing. Josh says that he's going good, growing and publishing, which is awesome. Key says the key thing, for his exit pop, for his pop-up affiliate strategy, is the targeting. He says if his blog post is about garden shovels, the offer will be about garden shovels, as it should be. It would make no sense to offer them fence posts if what they want is garden shovels. Josh says that he is putting his page views and income at the end of the month on the sheet right now, which is awesome. Let's see, it's the 27th, so I have 4 more days of effort, and I will be in the spreadsheet a lot in the next couple of days to try to get some more in there. I do appreciate, though, the folks that do go in regularly to the spreadsheet, because I feel like it is motivational to just feel like you're around other people who are actively doing stuff, right? Even just being like rubbing shoulders with people who are working can be enough to get people going. Jay-Z says site number 2 is now indexing and ranking within hours. That is worth a high five, like a digital high five. That is awesome. Sabina says she's late in a new time zone. Well, better late than never. And welcome. There is always the replay. It's awesome to have you. Key says, I'm newish to Discord myself. I have been on it for about a year, but it's dangerous because you could spend so much time just talking to people, right? And you could use that time for other things that actually produce income. So there's a balance. And people ask me why I have not started Discord, and it's because I feel like I would be sucked into it, that I would feel obligated to get in it and publish more in it, like, to be active so that it's good, so that it's a good Discord. And I don't have time for that. And so I respect the folks that are, but I can't. Svita says, I'm going to try to push for my small goals, which is awesome. It was a tough month for publishing since we have been traveling. Yes, but you know who has done a good job of figuring out how to do that was Morton Storgard, our friend Passive Income Geek. He, they have their trailer thing, and then they set him up like a little office, a tent that attaches to the side of it. So and set up a table out there, so he have his computer, and then they worked out a situation so they could have Wi-Fi. And I mean, that's just an example of what can be done. Like, he actually set himself up a tent office with a table and the computer and all the power, so it was comfortable, so he could actually get stuff done. It is completely possible. Watching him do it made me really think about how, and continue to think about how I would do it in the event. Hopefully, eventually, I get to travel more to do so. I saw yeah. Okay, I'm caught up now. Ooh, one of the things let's see if I can show people without like giving away all of my important data. But I've been trying really hard not to look at stats as much, but I did check this morning, and let's see. I don't know if you can see, but like that one is going in the right direction, which is really exciting. And that is the fight site, which is awesome because you can see like it's going totally in the right direction. I just want to work on it more so I can see that. And then what else? What else is worth showing off? Here is, let's see, does that look impressive? Should I show anybody? Oh, yesterday that you see that little spike on the end? I don't think that is bot traffic. That is the Otis site.
I published a bunch of content over the weekend, and because it's kind of I've not been consistent putting a large like the publishing volume on the site has kind of been like up and down when I can get to it. But then you go and you check the stats and you see the little spike and then you feel all motivated. You're like, I better go and do something about this. Like, I better. So, oh man. Jay-Z says, smash the like button. Yes, please. But even if you don't feel like it, that's okay. You could just like gently tap it. It has the same outcome. Nice. Yes, I like the curve or the hockey stick. They're little spikes. Like you expect that the next day that it will probably go down like this, but as long as it overall goes like this, I did have plans to make a video. I guess it's going to be 12, 13, 14. Yeah, like a 15-month, 16-month update video for the Amiga site. And Maeve says, "How's the Amiga site going?" And didn't see that comment till I started talking about the Amiga site. The Amiga site is, I felt like this month was going to be kind of a plateau because I had really strong growth income wise between the months of February and March. And so the growth is not necessarily as strong this month income wise, but I was looking at the traffic from month on month and it's still pretty decent. And rather than spoil it, I will probably just make a video. I'll just make a video. I'll make a video and do a blog post here at the end of the month, and then everybody will know. And maybe the video will get traffic. Maybe I'll do one of those like really clickbaity titles, like X number of dollars, and however many months, and try to get YouTube to push it out. It probably won't work, but let's see. Jay-Z says, this is an elbow cough emoji, but I thought it was dabbing. The kids do sometimes do the dabbing, and I don't understand what's happening when they do that. They're just like, whew. I'm like, what? Did you hurt yourself? Like, what's going on? Sonia, what is going on? How are things? How is the push, the march to try to get to 50,000 sessions? Please, updates. I want to know. One thing I can tell you on the Amiga site, though, and it's an accountability statement. It's an accountability moment. I did manage to get the site to 900 articles total. So, and it's April, right? So year one, the goal was 500 articles in 12 months. And that was shockingly difficult at the time. And you can see really like the growth, right? So you say, okay, how much have I grown? How much better am I at this? How much more, I guess, resources do I have now that the site is going to reinvest into it? So it took me 12 months to get 500 articles. And then it has taken me less than 4 months to get 400 articles. So I had hoped to get to 500 by the end of April. It didn't happen, but I will get there by the end of May. And so to be able to get to 500 articles in 5 months versus 500 articles in 12 months, I feel like that speaks volumes to what I have learned, connections I have made, the things that I'm doing differently now. Obviously, not writing much of that content myself, but having vetted other resources to be able to get that content there and then edited um, and then going. So the conservative goal was to get another 500 articles on the site in 20. I'm looking at the year. What year is it? In 2022. And my reach goal was 1,500 articles total. So instead of 500 new articles, I was going to reach 4,000 new articles. And I'm pretty focused on hitting the reach goal to try to bring the site overall to 1,500 articles in a I don't want to say perfect world, but in an ideal world, that number would be more. I really love to bring that site to 2,000 articles total, but I have a thing about setting pie in the sky goals that are not very reachable, especially since I am currently working on content for 4 sites right now. I couldn't stop. I needed to put some of these projects down and just focus on one thing for a while, and I couldn't do it. I go and I look at I check stats and I see the graphs going like this, and then I can't stop. Josh says, what is your strategy to revise the first 500? So for the Miga site, I'm not revising the first 500 yet because I feel like they are still, I don't want to say new enough, but they're not necessarily old enough that I am concerned about them. The site that I'm working on where I'm revising stuff is 3 years old. And so a lot of the content that I'm working on is 3 years old. So for me, I guess I'm thinking around year 2 is when I will cycle around and start trying to revamp and revise. But part of it is less about the age of the content, like that the content might not be relevant anymore because most of it is evergreen stuff. It's more about me having learned enough and that the revisions would cause significant changes to the articles. Like with the Miga site, most of what I'm doing, I won't say all, but most of what I'm doing is still consistent to what I was doing last year. So I'm learning and growing over time, but I haven't necessarily learned as much yet as I have from that project from 2019, which is why the 2019 project is the one that if I'm doing any revising, that's where I'm doing it. So, oh, there's a small, medium size. It's okay if I call you a small celebrity, Luke. Luke Jordan just popped in the chat. What's up, Luke? And if you guys don't follow Luke, he has a YouTube channel and he came on the stream last year. Was it last year or maybe even the year before? That's how long it has been. But if you're not following Luke, his videos are excellent. He doesn't put them out very often, but he's working really hard. And he is the person. And it's funny that Luke pops into the chat right as I talk about my complete inability to focus on anything, because Luke, what he did was had all these projects and decided to just go all in on one thing. And as of his last update video last fall, that project I think was making $30,000 or $40,000 a month. So I think the sum of it is to just be like Luke. And he says, you can call me small, and I will. I have been, everybody here is a witness. I am allowed to call Luke Jordan small Luke, not big Luke. We'll call him small Luke. He said, just not a celebrity. You're a celebrity, Luke, to me, a small celebrity. Says, I hope I'm doing well. I have many complaints, but none of them are worth complaining about. I am just proceeding, I would say, at my own pace and learning by doing things wrong. And apparently that's just the way that I have to learn, right? There are some people who could get the course or watch the video and just do it that way and succeed right away. And that's just not me. Oh man. Going back up to the chat, Jay-Z asks, have I gotten a digital ticket for Affiliate Gathering? I have not, but I should. I should, because I would still like to support and participate in this great effort. I'm excited about it. Josh says, what is the strategy to revise the first 500? I think I answered that, but I'm not doing the Miga site's first 500. More content, just a slower sinking ship. Yeah. Sarah's on the road with bad service, and I'm glad that you're here, and I still am looking forward to talking with you soon. Let's do it soon. Let's see. Josh says, I mean, more from 500 and still post more, or are you going to fall behind and halt real publishing eventually? Like updating 1,000 posts a year feels like you need to hire staffing. Yeah. No, that is a complete and accurate statement, because the content will no longer be fresh in the eyes of Google. At some point, the question is like, what point is that, right? So we know that freshness is part of the algorithm, right? It's like, but how much? How much? In a competitive niche, it probably means a heck of a lot more in a less competitive niche. I do agree that there multiple sites with lots and lots of posts will not be well managed by me. And I will actually admit right now that I am not necessarily a good manager of my entire portfolio. There are some sites that are completely and totally neglected, and it hurts their value and their progress and their potential, because I am unable to touch them and I am unwilling to hire somebody to do it for me. So yes, I agree. And I think that will be part of my growth. Maybe not this year, but in the future, it's like bringing on people to help me do some of these other things. I'm not good at spending money, and it's sort of like this ongoing process, like getting a callus, right? Like, all right, this hurts a lot in the beginning, and then that hurt callus is over, and then I can do more with it. It doesn't hurt quite so much, and I'm getting better, but it's 100% a progress. Stig says that he tried to follow Luke, but he is a really fast runner. Coming in with some really high level comments, Stigs. Thank you so much. Josh says he worries that revising becomes unmanageable after a point when you do Dijkstra volume. I know, I totally agree. I without help it is 100%. And you're right. Like you say, okay, you could end up with a site that's being weighed down with content that is no longer fresh while you continue to just throw money at the site, putting new content on there. And you say, okay, what is the impact of this old content that may or may not be helping the site anymore and could actually be hurting the site overall because it is not fresh or it is not getting any traffic. And I still don't necessarily have a good understanding of whether or not these posts that get no traffic, but still are in the cluster that are linked to each other, whether or not those are helpful or harmful. Because if you look at the folks on the side of topical authority who say you must publish on everything, you're trying to become an authority in Google's eyes, like having all of the keywords on your site and this depth, right? Even if it doesn't necessarily get traffic versus having just the lightest, like best content that gets traffic, but you may not necessarily have all of the articles. Like there's these two strategies, they both can probably work, but at some point you're like, gosh, like, which of these is better? And I don't have good answers for that. Sue says, am I coming over next month? And the answer is no, I'm not. And I am disappointed and sad about it. Carl has been lovely and was very kind to me when I had to come to him and say that I was not going to be able to come over. And it is for personal family reasons. And I'm pretty bummed about it because there's a lot of people that I really wanted to meet in person. And our small celebrity, Luke Jordan, I was hoping he was one of those people, along with many of you in the chat today and folks that I've just met over time. Like this is my 4th year doing this online. I made, I don't want to say friends, I will call them friends. But there's a lot of people across the water, especially in the UK, that I spend a lot more time talking to than people that are over here where I am. And I'm bummed that everybody's going to get together and have a beer and I'm not. Josh says that I didn't want to come as if I didn't have my talk ready. It was only a 15-minute talk. I have already blathered on for 45 minutes about almost nothing so far today. And I do it once a week. So I think I was going to be able to figure out 15 minutes worth of something. I was not going to be able to guarantee that it was valuable, though. That's all. Sue says, Lady D says she came across a niche site where the person copied content from English sites and translate it into another language without permission and then puts AdSense on it. That is an interesting strategy, especially for the blogger who doesn't speak that other language. And my guess is that it's happening a lot. I think it's probably happening a lot. And if you don't speak other languages and you don't necessarily have some sort of something to help you manage that, then you have no way of knowing. Sabina says, as a new blogger, reviewing old content was really educational. Educational is not the word that I would use. I would say depressing, embarrassing, shocking, like to go back and it's not even stuff that I did years ago. Sometimes it's even things I did 6 months ago and I'm like, oh my God, did I do that? I did do that. That's what I was doing. Just the growth that you can have month on month when you're really investing in yourself and like and getting in there every single day or at least once a week, a couple times a week, like you just grow so much. Stig says he wants the couch, and I am not sure necessarily that that's going to be an option for you, Stigs. Sonia says, is it normal to have an article that brings you 7,000 page views? I read that happens to some people. I think yes, sure. I mean, why wouldn't it happen? I mean, it's not necessarily the rule, because a lot of people who are working on info sites monetized with ads are pursuing low competition keywords that may have low volume. So it would be strange potentially to, uh, to have an article that's like, I mean, to be up that far, but it's not like out of this world. Now I'm like scrolling, like I'm looking at the Mega site. So the Mega site just crossed 120,000 page views a month. And I'm going to go look and see in the last 30 days, what did the top article, how many page views did the top article get? Okay, I was nowhere near 7,000 page views. The top article I have on my site gets 2,200 page views a month. So the top 10 all get around 1,000 to 2,000 page views a month. So like the traffic is really spread out. But is it impossible that the one of those articles could get 7,000 page views a month? I say no, not impossible. And how could that happen? I think that's a niche specific question, because some questions, some topics, some keywords are just going to have more people interested in it and have more volume. And also, it's going to be a competition thing. So, how likely are you to get the traffic for that? And also the quality of the article. Like maybe you rank for tons of long tail keywords in addition to it just being all of the things. So, I have not met that lofty goal of having an article do 7,000 page views a month on the Mega site. Doesn't mean that I won't, but good for you. That's awesome. Let's see. Luke says that old written content is embarrassing to look at, but old video content is a different level of shame. Oh boy, that's so true. One of the things that I have done every year now for the last 2 years is I went back and took off the videos from the. So I took off the first year's videos for the most part, and then every year after that, I just take down videos from the next year. So really, I'm only having like a year to 2 years worth of old videos on the channel versus the like 3 to 4 year old videos. And I didn't delete them. Some of them are just they're unlisted, and I've been debating what to do with them. Like, is there value to people in having these old videos that nobody watches on YouTube? I've debated putting them, like in a vault or in something where people could have access to them, and I could limit who has access to these really embarrassing videos. But luckily for me, not too much has changed. Well, I definitely have grown. The set has dramatically improved here, and also the sound and the cameras I have updated nothing, so I don't think they're dramatically better or worse. Zach says, talking about Sonia's a big article, he says his top article was 8,300 page views last month, but I'd much rather spread that out across a lot of pages. I agree. I would also like to see it spread out, because if you lose the traffic to that one article, it may just decimate your site. Stig says that Corn asked me to fill in for you. If I had to decline, I had to decline. If I leave, this town just falls apart. I'm not even sure what's happening to Stiggs today. He says, create NFTs for your old videos. So when people say NFTs, I feel like a grandmother, like trying to learn how to use an iPhone, right? NFTs, I'm like, what? There's this thing, I'm like, huh? And they explain it to you again, and you're like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. So somebody's gonna have to explain that to me again, again and again and again and again and again, and I'm gonna be like, huh? Like every single time, and think you're absolutely insane for encouraging me to do it. Sonia says, I heard that Mediavine might not accept sites where one page brings in thousands of views because it is risky. I'm a bit worried about it. Yeah, I mean, so what do you do? I'll throw this to the chat then. So let's use the hive mind. Let's say, and I'm sure many of us have had this experience or are currently having it. What do you do when you have a site, a growing site that has an outlier article where the number one article is huge? It's just dramatically bigger than everything else. When that has happened to me in the past, what I have done is try to create supporting content on the site to that article to try to support it, to try to strengthen its platform and foundation so it's less likely to get like, "Wah." But I've also tried really hard to create other content that will also get that kind of traffic and usually connected to or associated to the outlier article. Because in my mind, I think if Google favors that article in some way, either the keyword or the topic or the audience, like the more I can draw, more content I could put on the site that could potentially get something similar, that's what I will do. Definitely, if you're trying to sell a site that has an outlier article, I think it's going to impact the multiple that you could get for it. I think that those sites, they are riskier, and you're going to struggle to get the money for it that the site would otherwise deserve. Sometimes I I would want to artificially manipulate that in some way. I don't want to say I would delete the post. I would write it out as far as I could, but in the event that you were getting ready to sell it, like that's a situation that you have to address in some way because it does look risky to somebody who was looking at investing in it in some way. Stephen says, for the outliers, he would add supporting content also. He said he would try to write sister content because I know there's a better chance that Google will like it. Sabina says, my traffic is not very evenly spread out either. It's frustrating, but it's, you just have to continue to produce content. But for the purpose of the outlier, like doing whatever you can to try and draw more traffic to articles that are similar in some way that can somehow just reduce that spread. Oh, there's a mom joke coming in here from the ladies. It says, what do a tick and the Eiffel Tower have in common? They're both parasites. Ah ha ha. Margaret, talking about the outlier, says supporting content and then really sell the links in the outlier to spread the traffic. Oh, that's a good point, is to work on the interlinking so that you can get the most possible out, like the juice out of that one article, and maybe the spreading the juice out to the rest of the site will also lift up some of the other content. Stig says that he would delete the article. Joanne says a cluster around the post. Zach says supporting content is good, but generally just keep writing until that outlier traffic is a drop in the bucket. Also good. Sabina says, I have 3 articles that get a third of the traffic pages. Yes. Well, that's still good. Still better than not. Josh says cell phone is anti-choke time. Luke says if you're selling the site, you just have to take the hit on the valuation multiple. If you're not selling the site, just close analytics, get more content live, and hope for more. I feel like there's so much truth there that so I've been tempted a lot of times to take analytics off of the site. You say, okay, I don't want to be tempted to look at it, but I think eventually overall I would want to have that history, and so I leave them on the, either if I'm planning on selling it or if I'm making YouTube videos or something, it's like having the pretty graph. There's just no way to close me out of it. But if you're not planning on selling the site maybe ever, then potentially completely disabling analytics for an extended period of time and just focusing on content is probably the way. It probably is. I mean, what good does it do for us if the plan is just to post more content, to look at the analytics every day and feel bad about ourselves or feel anxiety when it doesn't change the end plan, right? The plan is to just produce more content. Looking at analytics doesn't help. It only hurts me most times. Stephen says, I've noticed that for his Ezoic site, the mediation income has gone up substantially. Yes, I concur. In some cases, higher than the Ezoic earnings. Has anyone noticed this? I have. I've also heard of other people having that. Josh says the mediation, the improvement or the change is due to MCM and AdSense allowing better integration for bidding. Luke says, never take the analytics off for a site sale, but block yourself out somehow. Give a friend access and remove yourself first idea off the top of my head. Yeah, somehow, like, there's got to be a way to just close yourself out of it. If you don't have the as willpower to just not look. I think, what did I make it? I did no look November. And how long did I make it before I had to look? I had to look for something. I had to look when I was doing a site integrate. It was when I was moving the site over to Mediavine. That's what it was when the Mega site went. And so I had to look, but I think the longest I made it was like 3 weeks, pretty solid. And I don't think I ever felt better about my sites as I did during that time. I highly recommend, I highly recommend for folks who are in the growth stage that they find some way to stop looking at analytics. It's bad for you. It's bad for you. Oh my God, it's like 4 minutes to the top of the hour. Did I talk about everything that I wanted to talk about? I think so. I don't want to say gloat, but marvel in the progress of both the fight site and my Otis.global case study site. So I did that. I showed that off. I admitted to the fact that I'm working on 4 sites right now when I should only be working on 1. I'm an addict. Can't stop. I'm going to keep working on it though. I feel like this is my sort of my recovery, like my group where I can admit my mistakes and that I'm working on it, and I am working on it. I did meet my monthly goal, which was awesome, and I'm happy to pat myself on the back about that. And for those of you who are still working on your monthly goal, we still have 4 days to go. And even if you're not going to make it, still getting as much done as possible is completely worthwhile. And yeah, it has been a strange but wonderful April. I think I have a guest scheduled for next week. I think, and for also the week after. But I'm not going to say who it is because if they don't happen, then I'm not. Nobody will know that I got stood up. Oh, Bella patted you on the back. That is awesome. What a great daughter that she is. Folks, it is Wednesday. We made it through the hour, and somehow I did not drink all of my coffee, even though I tried really hard. I plan to spend today and tomorrow working really hard, and I'm planning on producing at least 1 YouTube video that you may or may not see in the near future. Otherwise, thank you for the chat. It has been enjoyable to see some new and old faces in there, and I will talk to you, hear from you next week. Have a great week. Get a lot done, and we'll talk soon. All right? Cheers.